All right. On today's show, I welcome on a very special guest. He is a Coach of the Year winner and a New England Basketball Hall of Famer. He is the head coach of St. Andrews. Coach Mike Hart. Coach, how are you today?
Very good. Thanks for having me.
Coach, I'm very lucky to have you on the show. I appreciate your time and everything like that. Coach, I want to know, I always ask all my guests this, how are you doing during these COVID times? I know we talked a little bit about off air about it, but how are you doing during COVID?
Yeah, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's not fun. It
Yeah.
really isn't. At first, I put a lot of weight on, then I took a lot of weight off, and now I'm starting to put it back on again,
Oh, geez.
which isn't good. That's personal. But more importantly, I really feel for the kids because last year, at the end of last year, we finished our season in NEPSAC, the New England Prep League. We had lost in the semifinals, and I had a full year of film and recruiting, and plus the AAU stuff the kids had gone through before they came to St. Andrews that year. So placement went into June with our 6 seniors at the time, and it was tricky, but we got it done. This year, the kids haven't played since March, AAU or high school, prep school, St. Andrews, and it's been very difficult for 7 kids we have here, and I'm kind of really nervous. So I am not happy with this whole COVID thing, and I hope it ends fast. You know,
I was I hope so too. I feel for those kids. It's tough. Those 7 kids that are trying to get placed, and you wish you had the get to the film. That's really tough for them.
yeah,
Yeah, it's tough.
we're lucky we have a huddle camera, and we stream it through to YouTube and right onto our Twitter. So there's availability there, but it's just we got to get it going.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully it clears up eventually. I
Yes.
hope I hope so. It'd be nice to have some normalcy as well too. Um, but coach, before we get into your career at St. Andrews, I want to know, how did you fall in love with the game of basketball?
Well, Dr. Naismith elbowed me. He said, "What do you think of this?" No, um, I kind of. A lot of people don't know, but I grew up in Providence on Dayton Ave. My father was a police officer in Providence in the 1972, 73 range. He took a job in Smithfield, which was extremely rural at the time. 295 wasn't even built, and so we went from Providence to Smithfield, and a little different. I was like I don't know, third or fourth grade. I'm not trying to age myself. The reason I'm telling you this is my dad decided to get with a group of parents and start the Smithfield Youth Basketball Association,
Oh wow.
SYBA. So my dad, his name's Jack Hart. He was the first president of Smithfield Youth Basketball. I'll never forget it. We showed up at Smithfield High School. There was 300 kids. He had 4 basketballs and 5 adults,
Wow.
roughly. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that league grew to upwards of 2,200 kids with practice times and all kinds of just an incredible organization. I still believe it runs today. Now, my Smithfield ties have died down a little bit. My niece and nephews are now in college and they've outgrown it. But upwards of about 10 years ago, I noticed it was still highly organized, a lot of people, a lot of volunteers doing good things. And that ran concurrently with Smithfield had 2 outstanding CYO programs, St. Philip's and St. Michael's. And St. Michael's, we were the Esmond kids, and St. Philip's, they were the Greenville kids. And then we would combine and play at Smithfield Junior High School because, of course, it was 7th and 8th grade. It was junior high. It wasn't middle school, 6, 7, and 8.
Yeah.
And it was funny because we hated each other, and there were fights in the cafeteria because of CYO basketball. And I remember in 8th grade, we played St. Philip's in the state championship for CYO for Rhode Island, and of course we won. And then Smithfield, we combined and we won the Rhode Island State junior high state championship. We beat Davisville in the final,
Wow.
which is really interesting. We had a lot of talent in the town, and then the Hendrick and LaSalle's of the world would come in and take all the top players, because the kids wanted to play Class A, including myself.
Yeah.
And then Smithfield was in Class C. Still we had a guy by the name of Benny Benoit, great coach, and I was more of a football type guy then. and our football program at Smithfield was really strong. We were in Division One, and we would play the Hendrickens and LaSalle's and hold our own. So I stayed, and because I wanted to play more football. So that's kind of how it all started with me in basketball. We had 3 channels on TV back then. We had 6, 10, and 12. If you got the rabbit ears the right way, you could get 56. And channel 56, you could get basketball games like Boston College, because WBZ Boston,
Yeah.
or BU, and then Channel 10, NBC would have the Saturday game of the week. No ESPN, none of that. So anything we saw, because back then America was more of a baseball country, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Then kind of football, then kind of basketball. Anything you could watch college-wise was huge. And then we all went to Providence College basketball camp together with Coach Gavitt, who became, an idol for all of us. He had the Olympic team in 1980 practicing. Isaiah Thomas was my coach
Wow.
that week. Yeah, they never went to Russia, but they practiced at Providence the whole summer. And it was exciting. It was really exciting for a kid growing up in Rhode Island. And we didn't have the AAU options the kids have today. And no ESPN, no Dickie V yelling around. It's awesome, baby. We didn't have any of that. So you develop. You didn't get oversaturated with basketball, so you kind of really enjoyed it. And I like my junior high coach was very influential. His name was George Mello, and he really did a heck of a job with us. We were all good kids, but we were a little wild, and he kept us all in line and kept us all focused. Taught us a lot about life, and at an early age, 7th, 8th grade, that's where kids really need to hear the truth. And he did that. And still to this day, every now and then I'll bump into him. He actually lives in East Providence, and he'll come to a game or two. And he looks better than I do, by the way. He's a big influence, and also, my dad, obviously, he was stern, but good, with us, my brothers and sisters. And, then I had CYR coaching Leo Bada, who was tremendous, X's and O's. He was really good. So I got lucky. I mentioned my high school coach, Benny Benoit at Smithfield. I got really lucky growing up to be surrounded by such great coaching. And, a lot of stuff I learned at those days, I use currently with my own guys.
Wow, that's awesome. And that's awesome that you were lucky you were so surrounded by such great coaches and people to guide you.
And we were ball players when we grew up. We played football, basketball, and baseball. I didn't really like baseball, by the way. My friends wanted me to play, so I played. And then I ran track in high school. I also had a great high school football coach named Jim Dunn, who was a basketball official too in Rhode Island. And I am 1 in 6 lifetime with him refereeing St. Andrews games.
Really?
But then I think the biggest influence I had, the guy still around, over 50 years at Smithfield, Tony Terragrossa was the athletic director and my freshman football coach. And, I can't tell you how much he means to me and what he taught me. Out of anybody that he really taught me a lot. He was my freshman football coach, I mentioned, and I made a bad play. We played West Warwick in the freshman state championship. And I blew the game. And I could hear Hart. I could hear him yelling from the sideline, Hart. And we had one of those squirt things with water. So you pumped it and you squirted it out. And I was walking off, and here comes water at me. And I'm thinking, I'm getting crushed now, and I should.
Yeah.
Like 30 seconds left, I fumble.
Oh.
And he just laughed. We just laughed together. Gave me a big hug. He said, "There'll be other games." And that meant a lot to me. That meant a lot to me. And he's still there. He's still at Smithfield.
Really?
He just got elected to the school committee. He's been there like 70 years. But anyway, I'm talking too much.
No,
Stop me anytime. Interrupt me anytime. Right?
This is great. I love it. I think this is awesome. I think it's cool to hear all the stories. It's so cool. Like, and to hear you like that you fumble at fumble with 30 seconds left of the game, and you still had a coach that just picked you right up. He could have been yelled at, screamed at for doing it, and he just picked you right up. And I think that's awesome. And it sounds like you still have mostly like the connections, and can't let that guy ref any more of your games though, right?
No, well, he retired. Coach Dunn retired about 5 or 6 years ago, I think, from reffing. He's down in Florida now.
Oh, nice. Lucky
Yeah.
him.
But a lot of, you know what it was when we grew up too. We played outside and
Yeah.
we played everywhere. We had guys when I was a freshman. I had a buddy who was 16. He stayed back in elementary school, but he was 16 and he had his license and he had a car, and we went everywhere. We went down, Smith Street and played outdoors. We went down to Buckland Park. We went to John Street, Pawtucket. We went down to Westerly and like Boone Street in Narragansett too.
Yeah.
Drove down. There's some outdoor courts in Westerly over near the high school back in the day,
Yeah.
like Cranston, Doric Ave. We played everywhere outside, and you got to know people.
Yeah.
You got to know people. Like a lot of the coaches, like I saw Tommy Campbell from Coventry. We basically grew up there. Mike Reed's like one of my best friends. He's the coach at Central. I mean, I met Mike when I was like 10 or 11 years old, playing outside, and that's really where you learn how to play. Jamie Benton used to kick my butt on the court, and it's great. Now he recruits our guys. He's the coach at Johnson Wales.
Wow.
So it's just back in that 80s, 70s, 80s crowd, we all competed hard against each other, and like Tony Fiore's daughters come to St. Andrews. I mean, he was like God. He was like a senior, all state, like 3 times at Hendricken,
Yeah.
played at Stonehill. Like it's just, Tommy, I coached Tommy Garrick's kid and Bonzi Colson's kid.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, at the same time. And those guys played at URI, and we used to hang out when I was at CCRI. And, so it's a big, Rhode Island's got a nice family,
Yeah.
and it still continues to today. I sent out 37 emails to interscholastic coaches, and I got guys answering back right away because we need games. And I think the world of these guys to be able to do that and just let me know, hey, Mike, we might be able to do it. I'll get back to you. We can't do it. We're full. We don't know what we're doing. And I think that Rhode Island has been very underrated with the community, the basketball community. And we got a good thing going on.
Yeah, I think so too. I totally agree. It's crazy I think just being in such a small state, I think it has a benefit that we're all like really connected, and like you said, we all like you play against guys and now you're friends with them, they coach or they're athletic directors or anything. It's just funny, and I'm starting to get introduced to that coaching community around here, the basketball community more. After just being out of it for so many years, and it's awesome. I think everyone's so close, and guys exchange ideas with each other, and I think I love it. I don't think I've really ever seen that in any of the places I've ever, either coached at or been at.
Yeah, I like Jimmy Saris and I knew each other in high school. We had a mutual friend. Jimmy's a year older than me. Man, I just love talking to Jimmy. And I don't really talk to him too much because, he's kind of in between what he wants to do. He raised a family and stuff, and he's itching to get back in, and he should because he's unbelievably talented. And but just the conversations you have, and the stuff that you pick up all the time from somebody. Joey Bennett, he gave me my first coaching job at Smithfield. He was older than I was. I played with his brother Bill, and Billy was the head coach at the time. I got out of college in 1988. I played at CCRI and then Maine, and I know we'll talk about that in a little bit, but those guys, I'm hanging out down the courts in Smithfield. Hey, you want to get into coaching? Yeah, sure. Like things like that, you kind of don't realize years later what it's going to do for you, and it's really interesting how lucky we all were. Back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, we were really lucky. And a lot of the guys, the kids are reaping, they're reaping the benefits from that group of people nowadays.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And it's awesome that like such a close knit, and it's also, Coach Sayers, he's such a nice guy. He texts me all the time, Coach Sayers. He loves to hop on, like he loves to like to talk to coaches and always help give advice when he can give advice. He's a great guy.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's great. But and you touched upon you're playing at University of Maine, Fort Kent. Like, how did you end up there?
So after high school, once again, we didn't have AAU, so the exposure for Rhode Island kid was very difficult. And I was kind of a bubble kid. If I'm coaching Mike Hart right now, because of work ethic and toughness, I'm not going to lie to you, Jeff, I was tough. because of work ethic and toughness. I was a bubble kid. I was definitely a Division III kid, but I used to go up to Bryant and play with their guys and more than hold my own there. All
Really?
right. Bryant was Division II back then.
Yeah.
And so, my grades were okay. I was kind of I was in a tough class at Smithfield, but I was a C student, too social, hanging out. No, you playing 3 sports, big man on campus. I was hanging out. So I was a C student, but I did take good tough classes. So my mother and father said, look, you got to go to CCRI. I said, you're right. So CCRI was recruiting me a little bit. Coach Cullen, another legend, with his assistant, Charlie Wilkes. I mean, oh my God, you talk about pros. And so I get to CCRI, there's like 92 kids for tryouts, but I'm kind of one of the recruits. And if I could teach the kids one thing, they ran us the first day of tryouts. And I'm not exaggerating, there was over 90 guys there. And then Charlie Wilkes checked grades. And 40 to 50 guys the next day were gone. Just did not have grades.
Yeah.
So then we got down to about 40 to 50. We ran for a couple of days. Some guys left because they weren't in shape. Got down to about 25 or 30. They were gonna keep 15 of us. And I know I had an inside track because I was recruited. This is before the 3-point line. So I made the team, but I was probably 13 or 14 out of 15 my freshman year.
Wow.
Most importantly, I met John O'Shea, who became a lifetime friend. And, currently we've been coaching together here at St. Andrews for about 23 or 24 years. And a couple other friends. So worked hard. We had a super talented team. I got my butt kicked in practice every day. They were just guys. CCRI was loaded, loaded. We had some guys go play Division II and, a couple of Division I guys. And then my sophomore year, I worked my way in the rotation. I got hurt. I didn't play I played like the first couple of weeks and I was out. But Coach Cullen, there was a little guy who came to practice one day. He looks like I do right now, short, chunky with glasses. And he came to practice. I remember he sat in the corner. And so Coach Cullen said to John O'Shea and a couple other guys, one guy named Mike Owens, 6'7" guy from Narragansett, good player, and another guy named Brett Hickox, about 6'5", who's from Coventry. So those two guys and John O'Shea went up for a visit to the University of Maine at Fort Kent. It was NEIA, which meant they could give out as much financial aid and scholarship money as they wanted. And those three guys were offered scholarships, and the coach said, hey, you have anyone else in mind? And they mentioned me. The point, I didn't go with them. I never saw the place. And he said, I need another point guard. Fine. Coach Cullen helped me out, and Coach Wilkes. And the four of us went up there together. I went up sight unseen. So real quick, I know it's a long story, but so the first trip, I've only been out of Rhode Island a couple of times. So we get to Portland, Maine. First of all, they get to my house at 4 a.m. And we're all on scholarships, so I don't care. My parents are like, this is great, we're not paying for college. And 4 a.m, these two pickup trucks show up. I throw all my gear in there. I jump in the bed in the back of the pickup truck, and we're going to Maine. We got to Portland, Maine around, I don't know, 6:30. And I think we're there. I start unloading the truck. And they're like, oh, no. 6 hours. I said, yeah, right. And I thought they were joking. So then we drive to Bangor, and I'm dying. Now I'm 5 hours from home. No cell phones.
Yeah.
We stop at this gas station. I get on a payphone. I'm like, Mom, I might just jump on a bus and come home. This is 5 hours away. She's freaking out. She's from Federal Hill, Italian lady. Never left Federal Hill in her life. Well, no, moved to Smithfield.
Yeah.
And my father's like, just shut up and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Then we hit this road called Route 11, and it is dense wilderness like this all the way. And I'm bouncing around the back of the pickup truck, and we get there, and I meet this guy named Larry Murphy, and let me tell you, he changed my life. He did. And I get a little emotional when I talk about Murph because he took 4 kids from Rhode Island, and we were all great guys, but we kind of needed a little bit more focus. We had talent. He taught us how to work. He taught us how to prioritize academics and athletics. and he didn't let us cut corners. And we were in a dorm room for the first time ever. We were way away from home. We had to rely on ourselves. He was there as a safety net, but it was time to grow up. It really was. And NAI back in those days, you had Castleton State, Franklin Pierce. NAI was in between Division I and Division II. The main state league it was full, like Hudson and St. Joe's, full of Division I transfers. Jim Calhoun takes the job at UConn. 3 guys from UConn transfer to Hudson. So now you're playing 3 guys, 2 guys from Cleveland, a guy from Miami, Florida. Like NAIA was legit. It was a big time league. And Maine Fort Kent, we were part of the NAIA New England Conference, and they had gotten hammered. So Murph brought us in. Mike Owen's little brother Scott came. He was a 6'6" kid out of high school. So 5 guys from Rhode Island and these 2 other guys from out of state. We had 12. But we had a guy who was playing for the Puerto Rican Olympic team. He was a point guard. He used to destroy me in practice every day. And we made the national. We made the New England tournament, and we lost in the championship game to go to the Nationals. And St. Joe's Maine went out, and their first game they played Dennis Rodman.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
crazy.
How awesome is that?
That's awesome. That's
Right?
so cool.
Yeah. And then my junior year, my last year there, I had learned how to work. I got into weight training, and I ended up being a starter. I would play 38 to 40 minutes a game. Made all district, and we had an okay year. We barely got in. We got beat first round, but Husson won it that year, and they played Scottie Pippen out in the Nationals. So, yeah, when you went out to Kansas City, it was no joke. You know, it was no joke. NEIA was legit. Now all those teams are Division III. And by the way, Castleton State was coached by Stan Van Gundy.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And what happened was Coach Murphy got me into coaching. He was the one who suggested I start working basketball camps and start coaching. And then, you know, when I first got up there, assistant coach at Smithfield, his name was John Wignott, and he ended up coaching Burrillville. And I think he's still he might still be at Burrillville, by the way. I think he isn't coach anymore. He's soccer basketball. He suggested his comment was, if you ever want to be a college basketball coach, you need to work at Providence College basketball camp. And I have an in. I might be able to get you to work. And this is going to lead into the coaching stuff, Jeff.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'll never forget the day. And thank God we're all friendly now. So we joke about it when I talk to this character and his son. But anyway, I show up at Providence College camp. I have my Rhode Island CCR reversible practice jersey on. And I walk in at 8 into Alumni Hall. And there's 300 campers on the ground, sitting on the ground, one guy talking, a whole bunch of coaches there. The guy turns around and says, "Who are," I can't use the word, "you?" And I give it the old, "Hi, Mike Hart, I'm here to work here." And he says, "Get on the line." And I was 150 pounds then. And he ran me for a good 5 to 10 minutes while I was telling the campers, you can never be late in life. This is garbage. This is inexcusable, right? That guy was Rick Pitino. That's how I met Rick Pitino.
Oh my God.
And the campus got dismissed. I'm sweating. And a guy comes up to me along here and says, "Hi, my name's Herb Sendek. I'm a grad assistant here at Providence College. Coach Wignott says good things about you. Obviously, you know you can't be late. And here's your assignment for the week. And, you know, if you need anything, let us know." So I met Herb Sendek right after I met Rick Pitino.
Oh God.
And so I get through the day, and the Friars, that was the Friar team that went to the Final Four.
Yeah.
They had 9 guys playing. So some guy comes up to me and says, "Hey, you played at CCRI. You must be decent. You want to play with us?" I said, "Sure." He goes, "We need a 10th." And that's when all the kids would sit up in the stands in Alumni Hall. And Pitino had the canteen going, so they'd buy snacks and all that.
Yeah.
So I played, and I did okay. I do remember I threw an alley-oop to a kid, Shamstead Dean, and he actually pointed to me. That's pretty good. And then that same kid said, "Hey, Coach Pitino gave us a day off. We're going to go to Bradley's Cafe. You want to go?" I said, "Sure." And I hung out with him that night, and that guy was Billy Donovan. So one day I met Rick Pitino, Herb Sendek, and Billy Donovan. in one day.
That's-
And once again, I'll get to the Van Gundys, two squirrely guys who didn't talk to anybody, sitting in the corner, writing everything down he said. Stu Jackson was there, Ralph Willard. Like, you're talking, the future of college basketball was at that camp. And I met everyone that day. And at the end of the week, I got a check. Now, we were there on a Sunday, and we were in until Saturday. And you worked 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. And I mean, it was brutal. And I got a check for $94 for the week. Now, fast forward to 2001. Now, Coach Pitino had recruited some of our guys, and I became friendly with them. In 2001, I went out to, Kevin Willie goes, hey, Mike, come work Louisville camp. So I'm out at Louisville camp. And Coach Pitino goes, hey, I want you to, can you take Richard? He's going to be a freshman at Providence on your staff. I want him to learn the high school side. I said, sure, but he's going to be at the low end of the totem pole. He said, absolutely. Have him wash the uniforms, do all the grunt work, which we did. We had Richie for 2 years at St. Andrews.
Wow.
He was a freshman, and he's a freshman and sophomore. And he did all that. He did all the grunt. He scouted, did all that stuff. But anyway, back at the camp, Coach took us out for dinner, and I told the story, and he's heard it before. And the other week, he gave me a check for $95. Just hysterical. Like, those were the days. Now the NCAA doesn't let people work camps, all right, or they kind of do, but if you have a player, you can't. So, like, I know Coach Sarah said in a few, an early episode, that's how you get into coaching.
Yeah.
You work the summer camps, you met people, you networked, you learned from the greats. And these young guys, I feel for them because they don't have that opportunity.
Yeah.
It's tougher for them, and I feel for them. But that's the whole, my playing days were fun. I learned a lot. I get the most out of my ability. But Larry Murphy, and Vin Cullen and Charlie Wilkes, those were the guys. Larry Murphy never had an assistant. He never had an assistant coach.
What?
It blew my mind. He
That's
had 12 guys from all over the world. Never had an assistant coach. And it just, all those guys, they were gold. I'm a product of outstanding coaches. I got lucky. And certain people at certain times in my life said things I needed to hear. And, because I could have gone that other way. I kind of was at the top of the fence looking over.
Yeah.
I could have. And these guys said, no, do it this way. Stay on course. And knock on wood, it worked.
That's awesome.
I'm babbling again. You got to stop me, Jeff.
No, Coach, I'm not going to stop you because these stories are awesome. Like, this is awesome. Like, yours is like a great, I'm just in awe. I'm like, listen to the story. I'm like, yeah. Like, I want to be like, it's like I'm just like, I'm loving what I'm hearing. This is amazing. Like, you've had an amazing career and everything that's led up to this. And like, that's crazy that you met Pitino, Donovan, Willard, all in one day. And it's funny they worked back for him.
And when Coach went to Kentucky, I worked camp. Now, Billy got the Marshall job. I worked camp there. Like, I used to be on the road for 10 weeks of summer.
Wow.
I would come home to run my camp. Of course, I was single for all those years too.
Yeah.
I don't know how, because I'm a good-looking guy, obviously. But I would come home to work my camp, Hoosier Hart camp. But I was doing Eastern Invitational camp, which was, like 5-star. I was working all those college camps, and I didn't have any players. It was just friendships I had developed. And then Herb Sendek's dad grew up in Pittsburgh with Sonny Vaccaro. So Herb Sendek introduced me to Sonny Vaccaro, which got me into ABCD camp and Adidas.
Wow.
And that's where things really started taking off. I also worked at Portsmouth Abbey. Talk about luck. Bob Hurley used to run his camps at Portsmouth Abbey School. And I got to know Coach Hurley, who was probably, in my opinion, the greatest basketball coach at any level of all time. And I'll fight anyone on that. And I have documented evidence to prove it. And once again, another mentor, and you talk about learning, he talked me into staying at the high school level. And he said, listen, it's a lot of luck, but if you find the right school, you can make more of a difference with kids because the business side of basketball is away. It's pure, and you can make more of a difference with kids. And I worked 3 or 4 summers with Coach Hurley down at Portsmouth Abbey and then followed him up to the Poconos and East Invitational, and I learned a lot. He used to have Bobby, Danny, all those guys were there. He was putting them through drills, and it's fun because Danny and Bobby come here to recruit, and we just start talking about the old days, and it's networking. It's
Yeah.
networking. But ABCD, that got me to another appreciation of basketball because at that level, and I know like Coach Saras mentioned 5-star and was military based, and ABCD wasn't military based. The kids had a kind of a nice setup, with a luxury hotel and catered meals, but our skill sessions were tough. We worked them, and they had the SAT prep, they had the life skills training, so the model worked. The model really worked, and it was kind of like what the USA Basketball is doing now. And that's when I met people from all over the country. And then Sonny had the foreign kids coming in the 2000s, and I'll never forget. I was at an all-star meeting, and everyone's going at it. The guys from LA arguing with the New York guys. They're arguing with the New Orleans guys, and I, little guy from Rhode Island, raised my hand, and they go, "What do you want?" Yeah, we already know Demetrius Nichols. I said, "Listen, the best player at camp is the kid from France. If you don't put him in the All-Star game, shame on you." And that kid was Tony Parker.
Oh my God.
Did not make the All-Star game. And I remember him because he had a French film crew follow him around. He absolutely destroyed everybody and should have made the game. And he did not because of politics.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah. But quite a time. I worked 12 years ABCD camp, and I did 4 round ball classics, which was like the McDonald's game.
Yeah.
And I got lucky. It was like the round ball classic. I was an assistant coach. We were there for a week in practice. LeBron's taking free throws and I'm rebounding. I picked the ball up, and right in front of me is like Isaiah Thomas, Kevin McHale, Larry Bird. Like it's all 80s. Pat Riley. Because the high school kids can go to the NBA.
Yeah.
So we're in practice with round ball classic, and all these guys are like, they're teasing me, "Hey, coach, you're really hustling today." And I'm saying to myself, "Holy cow, that's Bird. That's Larry." So, and then you're like, "Hey, Demetrius, go sub in for LeBron." And, Dwight Howard had braces and was like, "Yes, coach." So you develop relationships with kids in high school when they weren't as spoiled back then. And sometimes you get, I'll refer to Jimmy a lot because I think the world of Jimmy Saras, and he knows what I'm talking about because he was at that national level. We didn't spoil those kids. And now they're spoiled.
Yeah.
They're spoiled. They really are. And I hate to say it, I won't look at kids who are on lists, and it has nothing to do with the kids. It's just, I don't know if I can coach them, and I don't know if I can coach their parents, but I'll get into that later. So these guys brought it every day. They were early. They brought it. They stayed late. And I appreciated that. That's before the big money came in. And, I remember a kid named Gabe Pruitt.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, "Well, who's this kid?" Next thing you know, he's a first-round draft choice. I had Leon Smith, 7'2". Oh, my God. Number 29 pick in the NBA draft in Dallas. He's the only kid I ever saw catch the ball in the elbow, drop, step, and slam on somebody. No dribble. He's so long. The list goes on and on. Like I said, I've been really, really lucky. And, I did the Adidas game in Louisville one year, Freedom Hall, and Michael Beasley, Nolan Smith just killed us. I had this kid named who was the coach? I can't remember. Who's the big time dunker? I was like big 6'9" kid. Come on, Mike. Hold on a second.
All right. Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
My kids would kill me because I'm forgetting his name. I got him right here in this program. Hold on a second. Where is he? DeAndre Jordan? What an idiot!
Yeah.
I'm an idiot. Yeah, DeAndre Jordan, nice kid, didn't say anything.
Yeah.
And he, kid from Houston, couldn't make free throws.
Yeah.
I say to myself, this kid's overrated, right? Because we had the All-Star games are great. You had 3 days of practice. It was great. You developed a relationship with the kids and their families and stuff. So then the lights went on and the 12,000 people showed up at Freedom Hall, 29 points and 26 rebounds later, he was MVP of the game.
Yeah.
And, he made every free throw. So you live and you learn. You live and you learn. But I think that if you treat kids like kids and you don't have star rules, they're going to get better. Because they have to work. If you let them cut corners and slack,
Yeah.
they're not going to get better. They're not going to reach their potential.
Yeah. That's
But anyhow, so the word luck, I'll use the word luck a lot. As a player and as a coach, and I think basketball, um, you know, the AAU had, a lot of high school guys will say, "Oh, the AAU."
yeah.
Well, I've coached AAU, I've seen AAU, I've coached high school, I've seen high school, I've coached prep school, I've seen prep school. It's all the same.
Yeah.
You got good guys, and you got some not so good guys, and I think that the summer definitely benefited not only me personally, but more importantly, St. Andrew's School and our kids. And we were able to get into a pool of kids that we normally wouldn't get, because I wouldn't know about them. And then once again, I see the whole. I see the parents. I see, the AAU coach. I see the high school coach. So, anyway, it good times. Good times.
That's awesome. I'm like in awe. I'm loving this. Every story that you tell, I'm like in awe. This is just awesome to hear the stories that you're sharing. And like, I'm sure the listeners are gonna love it too. It's crazy. It's crazy the experiences that you've had and the people you worked with and being a part of all this stuff. And and it's funny to you, like this guy from Rhode Island just vote for Tony Parker, and it's just awesome. It's just.
I mean, he killed everybody. It was a shame. It
Why
was
did
a
they
shame.
vote him in? Was it just because of like
He wasn't going to college, so he wasn't recruited,
okay?
and he was a foreign kid. And everyone's playing politics, trying to get that kid in the All-Star game to help their recruiting and to help their AAU team, and everyone forgot about this guy. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
that's wild.
And I would only bring Rhode Island kids who could play at that camp, and a lot of the people didn't respect Rhode Island. They were like, "Oh, you guys are what, 60 miles by 60?" And let's be honest, we're more of a hockey state, especially back then.
Yeah.
So, the first non-St. Andrews kid I brought to ABCD was Robert Griffin from St. Raphael's in 1998. He was Gatorade Player of the Year that year, and we had Tony Roberts at the time, and he was terrific. He had a great week at camp, and he helped me bring other kids who weren't part of our program there.
That's
And
awesome.
Joey Missoula.
Yep.
They're like, well, who's this Missoula kid?
Yeah.
Well, he leads the camp in free throw percentage, and like West Virginia ends up offering him after the end of the week.
That's crazy.
Like you got to be kidding me! Like he can't play.
Yeah.
And it just. We still had our Rakim Sanders and Tony and Demetrius Nichols and Abdullah Donde, and I still got my allotment of guys, but my guys made all-star games without me politicking.
Yeah.
Jonathan Colley gets there. He already verbal to Providence. Next thing I know, Lou Olson's calling me and saying, "Hey, can we get him?" And I said, "Nope. At St. Andrews, you make a commitment. You're true to your word, and that's it." And it was the right choice because John had a great career for Timmy Walsh at Providence.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. So it's that level camp really opened my eyes up a little bit. And but kids are kids, and treat them all the same. Do not have star rules.
Yeah.
Treat them all the same. And Bob Hurley taught me that. Bob Hurley. So you live and you learn.
What was now you mentioned, I think I want to touch upon this too. Great. I think it's amazing that you advocated for kids who didn't play for your school and brought them to ABCD camps because you thought they were ready and they could make it to the next level and all that stuff. And I think that's awesome. That just talent and it's great. And I think that's great for Rhode Island for the kids, period. And two, what was the document that you had of Bob Hurley that you know that he's the best coach?
Okay, so if you spend time around him,
yeah,
and you see his tough love, but yet not so tough love, and you know where the kids come from, okay? Like a lot of them came from difficult backgrounds, let's say, all right?
Mm-hmm.
What he does and how he motivates kids, or how he motivates, first of all, he still should be coaching. It's a crime that he's not coaching, but St. Anthony's closed.
Yeah.
He's in great shape. He's, he thinks the game better than anyone. I'm talking, he'll have everything figured out down to the second, but yet he's able to adapt. He's able to adapt. Okay. And if you ever hear him speak, you can hear a pin drop, yet he stays all day and all night and answers questions. The only other speaker better than him I've ever heard is Hubie Brown. Hubie Brown was just amazing, like 3.5, 4 hours, you know. But as far as X's and O's in life, Bob Hurley's right there. The guy won 1,000,000 games. He won a ton. You know how tough that league is?
Yeah, it's tough
New
league.
Jersey?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. And Tim Thomas was probably one of the best high school basketball players I've ever seen in my life. He was as good as LeBron, or just maybe a shade under LeBron. And I watched St. Anthony's hold him to 5 points.
Wow.
And that was Bob Hurley. That was Bob Hurley. And if you talk to anybody who's played for him or been around him, they'll all tell you the same thing. You talk to college coaches, all right? Coach K, other guys, talk to him. A St. Anthony's kid is going to come in, not only start, but he's going to know how to be a college kid. He's going to be a leader. Like, just amazing the way that he got these kids to play. And if you factor all those factors, you know, all those factors, kids from that area, right? From that area.
Yeah.
You know, I got dorms. Come on. Oak Hill, Steve Smith, awesome. Another good one. He's got dorms. You know, another one's Morgan Wooten, who I spent time with. Unbelievable. He was just like Coach Hurley. He had kids in the area. When I see that happen and the results they get, I think those guys are a little higher than your guy who has the gym, the dorm, the financial aid, you know, all that stuff. I think those guys are a little higher level, you know, and Morgan Wooten and Bob Hurley, they could do any level and get the respect. They would have got the respect from the college kids. They would get the respect from the NBA guys. And they both would have adapted their styles. You know, like Coach Beeline didn't make it the NBA. It was sad.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not sure what happened there. I don't follow the NBA right now as much. You know, obviously Michael Catalani's plays. I watch him.
Yeah.
When Bonzi was playing, I was watching him. But and there's a bunch of net sack kids I try to watch, but I don't follow it as I could. But when you see a college guy not make it in the NBA, it's because of just a different style. It's a different style. And USA Basketball should have just hired Bob Hurley and make them the permanent USA Basketball coach. Because he's that. I'm telling you, I've been around. I've been lucky. Been around a lot of great coaches. Coach Pitino, you know, Brad Stevens. I met Brad Stevens when he was a grad assistant at Butler.
Oh wow.
He picked me up at the airport.
That's fine.
You know, like when Herb Sendek was the Miami, Ohio coach, I worked camp. I was at the Days Inn in Miami, Ohio, in Oxford, Ohio, for the week. My roommates for the week was Sean Miller and Thad Matta. And Sean Miller was making $16,000 and Thad was making $12,000. And I was buying dinner because I was making $20,000. And I was buying dinner at night. So, you know, Thad Matta and I are lifetime friends. We talk every month. We're very close. And when Brad, he tells me, hey, I get this guy who left the computer world. He's like 24. He's brilliant. He's going to be my new grad assistant at Butler. He's going to pick up me at the airport. Great guy. You might have to stay at his place because it's a day camp and you can't stay in the dorms. And my in-laws are in town. So I stayed with Brad like a day or two, and I got to know him really well. And just a worker. You knew the guy was going to be great. But I said this to him. He dropped me off at the airport, and I looked at Brad Stevens, and I said, hey, kid, I was 33 at the time, 34. I said, hey, kid, you're never going to make any money in coaching. You might want to go back to that computer job. So, and then he got lucky. He'll tell you.
Yeah.
Someone got fired at Butler. He was out of coaching because Dad took the Xavier job, and Todd Licklider took the Butler job, and someone got fired on his staff, and he kept Brad, and the rest is history. That's true. So once again, the word lucky comes into play here a lot.
That's awesome.
A lot of guys. This guy's coach in Division III that are like big time coaches. You never find out. Like there's guys coaching high school, big time, never took the chance. Uh, didn't have the opportunity. Wanted to help kids a little bit more. In college, it's too much business. You
Yeah.
got to win to keep your job. You kind of have to cut corners with the behavior and all that. And forget it.
Forget it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. They met Brad, and now I know. Now look at Brad now after you made that comment. Is this
I go up
something?
every year. It's great. And, he
That's
takes
awesome.
time. He's the same guy.
Yeah.
He'll do some X's and O's. He breaks things down. He's one of the smartest human beings I've ever met in my life. He's amazing. So is Herb Sendek. Herb Sendek's the Carnegie Mellon graduate. Wow.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
That's crazy.
But anyhow.
But I want to get into also as well, because what led you to take the St. Andrews job in Barrington?
All right. Yeah. That's. I was hoping we could talk about the kids a little bit more.
Yeah.
I babbled forever. But,
Yeah.
and please feel free to cut anything you want with me talking about.
I don't know if I want to cut anything. It's so good.
So I'm at Smithfield. I was at Smithfield from 1988 to 1994, roughly 6 years. I coached football and basketball. Coached football from 88 to 92, and I coached basketball from, I think, 90 to 94. We won a state championship. We lost in the buzzer in another one. There was one, I needed head coaching, like Herb and Thad and Sean Miller. Those guys would tell me, hey, you got to get a head coaching job. It doesn't matter how good the team is, just get it on your resume. Herb and I talked about college. It didn't pay a lot because they had the restricted earnings position back then. That paid the $12,000. And I was like, well, my credit cards are like 25. I can't afford it.
Yeah.
So my neighbor came up to me and said, hey, I work at St. Andrews. I was teaching at Bradley Hospital at the time. I'm a special ed teacher. My neighbor said, hey, we got a job open at St. Andrews. We need a basketball coach next year. You interested? And I was like, well, they're kind of down. They didn't win any games this year. But in the past, they've had some players there. They're not bad. So I figured, I'll try it if I get lucky. Bob Hurley at the time, Mike, take a job at a private school where we can get players. Run a camp, make sure that the school gets the majority of the money, and they'll help you with financial aid. Bingo. Took St. Andrews. They were 0-22. My comment was, we will not be 0-22 next year. I was right. We were 1-21. And I had camp, and I had 60 kids at camp, and the school made some money, and they were happy. I was happy. More importantly, that team of 12 kids gave me every ounce of energy they had, and I'll always appreciate those guys. None of them would have made a varsity team in the state of Rhode Island anywhere. But you know what? They gave me everything they had. Smithfield invited me to the Smithfield Holiday Classic. I went up there and got crushed. Not by Smithfield, by North Smithfield and a couple other teams.
Yeah.
And my mother and father were there, my family, and everyone was like, what are you doing? And then the second year, we got a little better. We had a couple of kids come into school. We got a little better. We were 7-15. I kind of learned how to schedule differently. And then a guy by the name of John Martin walked in 1996 and just changed the school forever. John came up to me and said, you're the basketball coach. I want to change the culture of the school. We're kind of down right now. We need some energy. And he goes, kids aren't going to get here free. Everyone pays to come to school, but we'll meet financial aid need. But everyone pays. I said, fine. And you got to hold kids accountable. I don't want you to cut any corners. He said, listen, I've learned from Coach Hurley, and if you give me a chance, I think you'll like the results. And I knew a kid down the street in East Providence named Tony Robertson. I knew he needed a school. And without Tony, we don't exist today. We took a chance on Tony, and Tony took a chance on St. Andrews. We were a much different place. We had some kids that, great kids, socially weren't all there, like with your, they had some difficulties. And Tony came from being, highly known and, basically celebrity status, came to the school and treated everyone with respect. And some kids might have come in and said, oh, I'm better than you. I'm better than this. Tony treated everyone with respect. He did art, he did theater, actually really good theater, by the way. 3 years of theater, he's in plays and everything.
Wow.
And turned his life around at St. Andrews. He really did. Now, we had some frank conversations along the way.
Yeah.
Tony's sophomore year, and this is no exaggeration, he averaged 35.5 points a game. On a Friday night in New London, Connecticut, he had 57 against Williams School. On Saturday at 2 o'clock, and we lost that game, by the way. On Saturday at 2 o'clock, right here at St. Andrews, he had 52 against Rocky Hill School, and we won. Wow. So less than 24 hours, he scored 109 points. And I got to admit, he did not take a bad shot. He made everything.
Wow.
Like he had one game, both games, he had 9 threes, dunks, all kinds of stuff. I had this kid who was a wide body and couldn't make a layup, but he could screen. So he would knock one of the 2 guys covering Tony, he would knock him off. When Tony went one-on-one, Tony would take anybody to the basket. Still to this day, if not the greatest high school player in the history of the state of Rhode Island, one of them.
That's awesome.
And then John Martin was impressed with what he did here as a kid. The next year, Tony's senior year, we brought in some guys. We brought in Joshua Odabella, outstanding 6'8" guy from Mount Pleasant, and Tony's junior year. And then the 2 little guys, bookends, Gontawan Gay from Central, ended up playing at Bryant, started at Bryant for 4 years, and a kid named Eric Mack from Fall River, who wasn't even playing at Durfee. I was like, wow, this kid's really good. Came in, and next thing you know, I have him for 3 years and Gowdy for 3 years, Josh and Tony for 2. Eric ended up going to Tufts. Talk about changing your life. And then went to Tulane Law School, and now he's one of the most successful lawyers in the state of Rhode Island.
Wow.
Great guys on our board. He's a great guy. And Gontawan is out in Phoenix, Arizona. He works for American Express. He's an executive for American Express. Tony's currently still working for the state of Rhode Island. Joshua Odabella teaches at Oceanside School and works for the Province Rec Department, 2 full-time jobs.
Wow.
So these guys, and they just played so well together. And we brought in other guys around them, and it was nice. We played Rhode Island teams. Us and St. Ray's had those memorable games in the late 90s at Rick, where we sold it out, 4,000 people. Hedrick, Steve Cesaretti, you talk about a great coach. Tom Sorrentine, you're talking legends.
Yeah.
Who I learned from. And they had talent, late 90s, loaded in the state of Rhode Island, Division I kids. And I think that was 99 might have been the first year, TJ Sorrentine came out of the woodworks.
Yeah.
Came by the name of DJ Murneur from Hendricken. 99, if you look at the All-State, I think it was the first time all the kids were Division I players.
Wow.
And that kind of demystified Rhode Island. People could come here and recruit kids. And that's the number one thing I'm most proud of in all my time at St. Andrews, is the fact that college coaches can come to Rhode Island and recruit kids. And I always wanted to help Rhode Island kids, not only here at St. Andrews, but throughout the state, because I was a Rhode Island kid. And I felt that we had a lot of great plays in the 80s that got overlooked and in the early 90s. So great days. We won a couple New England championships. Winning's fun, but getting the kids in college is the top priority. And those guys all went to, they all come back. It's a family atmosphere. And we were able to cement that. They are the foundation of what you see today at St. Andrews. Those 4 guys. We had a kid from Germany named Martin Zimmerman. He was here for a year. He's another guy who really, and I know we had a kid named Marcos Figueredo who was here for 4 years. He's from New York. He's another foundation guy. Shot like this, couldn't miss. Everyone was watching Tony. Marcos hit out in the corner, boom. Scored 1,000 points, played at J&W, and so that was the foundational years, those mid to late 90s. That led us to where we are now.
That's awesome. And how is it like you coach these young men, and how do you you prep these guys for the next level? You had Michael Carter Williams and you had Tony Robinson. How do you get these guys ready for the next level in life too as well?
they've kind of all handed things off to each other. So,
Mhm.
for example, Tony's a senior. Demetrius Nichols comes in for a visit
Mhm.
and spends the weekend and hangs out with the guys and understands what. And then Tony was like, you know, top 30 player. He was McDonald's game, but he was a fifth-year senior, so he didn't get in the game. Played in the Round Ball Classic,
Mhm.
uh, and so Demetrius Nichols wanted to be Tony Robertson. So then Demetrius Nichols last year, Rakim Sanders comes in for a visit. Rakim Sanders is like, I want to be Demetrius Nichols. Rakim Sanders ends up, handing it off, to Michael Carter Williams, who hands it off to Bonzi. Who hands it off to Cole Schweider. Like, so we
Yeah.
had a whole bunch of that, but then we had a lot of really good, solid Division 2 and 3 kids who are the nuts and bolts of your program.
Yeah.
So we always had the Division 1 recruiting is easy. Those guys are going to get seen. They're going to get offers. Like Bonzi prolonged his recruiting just so college coaches could get in the gym. He wanted to go to Notre Dame as a junior, and I was like, Bonds, just commit. Nope. Henry Bolton needs more looks. John Geary needs more looks. I want coaches in the gym. And God bless him. He didn't have to do that.
Wow. What a teammate.
So we've created a family-like atmosphere that I learned from Bob Hurley and O'Kill and DeMatha and Steve Cesaretti and Hendricken, who he passed it on to Jamal, who's one of the best. Like I work camp with Jamal and for Jamal in the summer. Talk about, learning things. At, St. Ray's with SAR. So we've been able to, the prep schools, the knock on the prep schools is people come, use your school and leave.
Yeah.
Where these other schools who have these Austin Smithfield, big family atmosphere, North Kingston, public schools.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted here, and we got it. We have like 80 guys come back for alumni games, and
That's awesome.
always talking to guys about, they know I'm their coach forever. And some of them, knock on wood, they've made a mistake or two, and they can come back, and then we get them back on track. And I want them to feel that way. If they don't feel that way, they need to give me a call and let's talk about it, because that's really. I think any coach who is doing at the high school level is here to teach life skills first. I'd be shocked if they said, no, I want to win games.
Yeah.
And I think that we've done a great job doing that. And hey, we're not perfect. Some of our guys, we've lost a couple guys for behavior in the past. Not a lot, but a couple. And later on in life, they'd come back. Hey, coach, I'm doing this. I go, great. You're always welcome. Come in. You are always welcome here. And I just think that if you hold everyone accountable and you don't have star rules, you're going to get those results. And we've had talent.
Yeah.
We've had talent, but we've worked it. We've worked it. I'm on the road. I'm on the phone. I'm answering emails. I got 38 kids into admissions right now. 38, and it's only January.
That's crazy.
Next year. Yeah. So I mean, it's crazy, and I know there's going to be another whole bunch of kids who want to apply because the NCAA is putting a pinch on this senior class, and kids are going to need a post-grad year. So.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome, Coach. I mean, I love it. I love that the atmosphere you create now is that atmosphere, the family atmosphere, and everything that you mentioned. Is that part of your coaching philosophy as well, too? Like, preparing the kids for life and the family atmosphere. Is that part of your coaching philosophy?
Yeah, we have one overall rule. Please don't do anything that will embarrass your family, your friends, or the school. That's our number one rule. And then we hold guys accountable. If you're late, come on.
Yeah.
Why are you late?
Yeah. Yeah. What do you do?
I'm gonna say, hey, listen, you can't be late. The next time it's like, all right, you're late again. I gotta sit you out a little bit.
Yeah.
If you're late a third time and there's no logical excuse, we're gonna have to talk about you being on the team. Now, granted, I've never got there, and I like that. Jeff, I'm gonna be honest with you too. At the same time, when we look at kids, we look at the whole kid.
Yeah.
And I want to say this, and I think it needs to be said, and I don't mind if people get upset with me, that's fine, because I'm a parent. I got married about 7, 8 years ago. I picked up 3 boys in the transaction, as I tell my wife. And all 3, one of them's a sophomore here, Liam. He just made our varsity team. And my other 2 sons, Jabin and Mark, very good basketball players. Mark was a tremendous athlete. Jabin, tremendous basketball player. Okay. Jabin was 1,500 point scorer, all New England, Class C, all New England, and plays at the University of New England right now. Very good player. Was all state in Rhode Island prep, and never played for me. And Mark, the same thing, never played for me. And the reason being was I couldn't be the parent and the coach, and my wife could not be married to the coach, because I'm lucky at St. Andrews we have the regular setup, JV and varsity, but then the prep team's different. That's college basketball.
Yeah.
And Jabin, Mark knew it. He's a good high school player. He was not going to play college. He was thrilled he was on varsity. He was all league. He had a great career too.
Yeah.
But he was a really awesome runner. Like, he was all New England and running, and then he made all state in lacrosse. So just one of the best athletes we've had at St. Andrews. Jabin was outstanding, great player. But I had a kid going to Syracuse, a kid going to Bryant, another kid who was a top 50 junior, all at the point guard position. So is my kid going to be the fourth string point guard on my team and have a miserable experience? More importantly, I got to go back every night and see my wife, right?
Yeah.
Or can he play on the varsity for an outstanding coach named Mike Haggerty, who played for us, and now he does our varsity team, become a great player. Jabin's senior year, 3 guys went and played Division III, and they're still playing.
Wow.
And they won the league, and they lost to St. Thomas More in the final in New England for Class C. And I mean, you're talking like high-level basketball. And he had a much better experience. He got more looks on that team than he would have on my team from college coaches. Yeah. And that's the goal. Goal number 1 is exposure with my team, the prep team. And that's why we recruit kids. So I'm looking at the parents. I'm watching parents in stands. Am I going to be able to talk to them? If their kid's not getting the playing time they want, can they still have a conversation with me? And can they remember the goal is college? That's the thing. 2 hours a day, I'm trying to win a game. I will admit that, for 2 hours a day. But they got to understand the big picture. I had some guys not get a lot of time, and they've had great Division III careers. Now, granted, they're at low-level Division III schools, but they still have had great Division III careers. And so it's got to be the whole thing. And I got to be able to qualify you. Yeah. I'm not going to take a kid with C's, D's, and F's. If I can't qualify you, I'm not going to, just because you can play basketball, we're not going to take you here. Yeah. We said no. We said no to a whole bunch of guys in the NBA. Really? I could go into that file cabinet behind me, and I still got some transcripts from the early 2000s that will blow your mind. But obviously legally I can't show them to you.
Yeah, exactly.
But we've seen there's some kids, and they just weren't good fits. They weren't good fits here. So we kind of look, the philosophy leads into the kids we bring into the school. And, the last couple of years we haven't had too many Rhode Island kids, and it's kind of bothered me a little bit. Ray Cross, a former player of mine who played at Providence, is our admissions guy. And we're not doing it on purpose. It just hasn't worked out. Yeah. We've had, maybe 1 or 2 Rhode Island kids each year. I used to have 5 or 6.
Wow.
I will say this. In 2012, we decided to go with post-grads. I was worried that we were going to lose that family atmosphere. Post-grads tend to be out-of-state kids who live in the dorms. Yeah. Like a Rhode Island kid really shouldn't come here unless, they want to, we'll give them the dorm experience, because post-grads need that dorm experience.
Yeah.
They need that kind of, like Terrell Brown graduated from St. Andrews. He needed to leave us and go to Tilton to get in the dorm, and it worked for him. Now he's at the Staunton Center at Pittsburgh. He's a senior now there. Yeah. And, so it's hard to put a Rhode Island kid in the dorms when I have another kid like from a different part of the world or country that we could put in there. And so the post-grads, to my surprise, have actually added to the family atmosphere. And they've been very involved in the school and have really enjoyed their year here with us. And we needed it because the league that we play in is just outstanding. It's just such a great league.
Yeah. NEPSCAP, right? You guys are.
And they're all older.
Yeah.
They're older guys.
Yeah.
So the older guys win. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah.
That's why Kentucky's 4-8 right now.
Yeah, I know. Tough year for them. Tough year.
Older guys win.
Yeah.
That's life. Except in the looks department.
Yeah.
The young guys like you win. Anyhow.
Coach, I want to know, I have a few more questions to wrap up. This has been awesome.
Sure.
What kind of honor has it been for you to be named into the Hall of Fame and then winning Coach of the Year, I think in the same year as well as that. And then also, did you get inducted in the Hall of Fame with Tony Robinson too at the same time? And John, I believe.
That was the most special thing. If anyone, if you talk to anybody who's really known me for a long time, I tend not to talk about, I talk more about Mike Hart today than I think I ever have in a long, long time. And I'm kind of embarrassed, to be honest with you, but
you should. This is awesome.
Yeah,
I love this.
I just all the accolades. I go back to it. Every coach says the same thing, and I know it's a standard line, but it's the absolute truth. It's the absolute truth, especially at the high school level. Coaches aren't doing this for the money. They're not. Okay, and I've had some unbelievable assistant coaches. I really have. But John O'Shea's special. Like John and I, we're boys. And that it never works.
Yeah.
Never works. You're talking 30 something years here. And the story is correct. He walked up to me at CCRI tryouts and said, "Hi, I'm John O'Shea. You must have heard about me." That is a correct story. Now, those viewers who don't know Coach O'Shea, he's 6'9", redhead Irish guy, and he was a hell of a player. He was a tremendous player. He did not like eating correctly and lifting weights, which probably cost him a Division I scholarship. But back our junior year, 86, the three-point line came in, and here's a 6'8", 6'9" guy shooting threes. And I was like, "What are you doing? Get inside."
Yeah.
But anyway, so we've been together for a long, long time. And we complement each other. That's the key word. And do we agree every day? Absolutely not. Especially with politics, which I will not discuss. I'm not allowed to.
Yeah.
I took an oath. Teachers are not allowed to talk politics with their kids. I want to let you know that. And a lot of teachers are breaking the rules. I took an oath in 1988, the national teacher exam. You have to take an oath. You will be neutral. Let the kids make up their minds.
Yeah.
But anyway, so John and I have some really good discussions, and the bus rides are what probably is the most special times for the two of us because we really get to know the kids. And John loves his music. Next thing you know, we're listening to Johnny Cash on the bus. He brings this boombox speaker thing. He drives. He does two really good things. He drives the bus, and he coaches the D's. He's one of the greatest defensive minds. He does stuff I don't even know. Like he missed a couple games in the past few years, and the guys are looking at me. I'm like, defense. I'm like, three. Yeah, coach, 3A, 3B, 3. Right. So I'm the offensive guy. O'Shea wants to score 52-48. I want it 102-96.
Yeah.
So we complement each other, and I think that's the key. And the friendship's there, but we know where the line is. He knows I have last say in everything. Okay. But he's the associate coach for a reason. The guy would be coaching Division I college anywhere he wants if he took advantage of opportunities that he had. He loves high school kids. He loves his lifestyle. He likes St. Andrews, and he stayed here all these years. We were lucky. A group of kids was very lucky. Kind of like the Vinnie Cullen, Charlie Wilkes dynamic at CCRI that we played under. Okay, where Charlie was an equal with Vinny, and they were together for a long, long time. So John, I can't talk about Hall of Fames, the court dedication. Like we're playing Worcester. My headmaster walks out in the court, and those are Worcester's heated rivalry. But Eddie Riley's like one of my mentors. He helped me get in the coaching too in '88 when he was at Bryant. And Jamie Sullivan and I are like best friends, except for 2 hours game time. We hate each other. I mean, like we go at it. And my head walks out on the court, and I'm like, what's going on? O'Shea's laughing, and they dedicated the court before the Worcester game.
Oh no.
And I'm saying to myself, you know, two things. Why Worcester? And the second thing is, don't put my name unless John O'Shea's name's out there.
Yeah.
You know, but John didn't want his name out there. And, you know, John always would say, you're the head coach, and I don't mind you getting the accolades. I said, John, you know everything on the walls has your name on it too. And the New England Hall of Fame came along. They called me, and obviously we've been once again lucky. We've had a lot of great players. I gave them a list, and they said, let's start off at the beginning. And they said, you know, you and Tony and Josh. And I said, good, because I wouldn't show up unless my guys were being inducted. I brought up John, and I know John will eventually get in there. And but the night was great with those two guys. They're a lot older now. You know, I've coached guys who are 40, 42, 43 years old. Weird. And we just had a great time telling the old stories. And they tell me things I don't want to hear, like, Coach, we snuck out of the dorms. You know, like they tell me the stories I don't want to hear. But that was really special. And then, you know, I got, you know, I'm in the Hall of Fame at Maine Fort Kent. I knew nothing about it. John knew all about it. You know, he was there. He drove the 8 hours and with Mike Owens and everybody else. And then our team got in at Maine Fort Kent. Our team got in the Hall of Fame up there. So we had another reason to go up and see our old coach. And I think those things, they're not like, oh, wow, I'm big time. They're more awesome. I get a time to have a reunion.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. It will go back to the philosophy of family. It's a time to celebrate and have a reunion. John Calipari got into the Hall of Fame. Every guy who played for him in college got an invitation to the Hall of Fame in a hotel room. And I know it because Mike Burns was one of them. Mike Burns, who coached at Rhode Island College and coached with Coach Shea, dear friend of ours, coached with us for a year. He showed it to me. Every guy got an invite, and Cal had like 500 people show up for him, and he picked the tab up, which is amazing. Yeah. So I think the accolades are nice. The coach of the years are nice, but it's earned with everybody. And we have another tradition here I'd like to talk about.
Yeah.
Our managers. We have managers from all over the world. Tremendous. They are assistant athletic directors. They get the job done. I've had guys grab a ladder, go up and change a light bulb. I used to have this guy, John Holmes, who runs his own construction company now. Holmes Construction, by the way, they're awesome. Lives right here in Barrington. You know, he'd have a 3-piece suit on and greet the teams coming in. Like, just lucky. You know, we have the voice of the Saints. Kids try out to be the announcer. We've had that tradition. We have Luke Montalbano was the voice of the Saint for 7 years. He got it as a 7th grader, right? As you know, as a 6th grader. And we have a banner on the wall. Luke Montalbano, voice of the Saints, you know, all that. So like there's a lot more than basketball going on, is what I'm trying to say. And they all come back. The managers come back, parents, and they all come back. And I wouldn't want it any other way. And the night they did the floor, we had a whole bunch of people. We had a dinner afterwards right here in the lobby. You know, pizza and soda, my favorite meal.
Yeah.
Worcester joined us, and we beat Worcester 70-63, and it was a war. It was a war. And then we're eating. That's why I love prep school basketball. You kill each other for 2 hours, and you come out, and everyone's hugging and laughing and having dinner together. And you know, so yeah, so all the accolades are because of the family. You know, I mean, I do put the time in. I won't say that, but it's the family. It's the family.
I love it, Coach. That's awesome. I love it. I even read an article too, you know, about the Hall of Fame induction. You did mention Coach O'Shea in that article as well too. And it's just awesome. It's the same thing that you just pretty much said here. It's just amazing. I love that you have that atmosphere. You create the family atmosphere, and that means, it sounds like it just means the world to you. And it, you know, and I love that you give credit to everyone. It's just not yourself. You're giving credit to the whole staff, the managers, the people around you. It's just awesome. Can I come work for you? I don't know.
I might need somebody.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah. All right.
Like with last thing with O'Shea, like tonight, I got to hand out varsity practice gear. John O'Shea's in there running practice. Like, the kids know when the head coach ain't there, they have a little breathing time, right? In general,
Yeah.
not at St. Andrews.
Yeah.
Not at St. Andrews. No way. He's the same as I am. He always has been. He always will be. And like I said, he's turned down a lot of opportunities to stay here. We're lucky. We're lucky.
That's awesome. That's great. All right, Coach, last question. We'll wrap it up. What is your favorite thing to do outside of basketball?
God, I love to eat.
You and me both.
I love to eat, man. I'm not going to lie to you. I got the curse. I'm Sicilian and I'm Irish. I got the curse. But yeah, I was single for a long time. I had, girlfriends and some relationships and all that stuff, but never married. I was never a married man with a family. And I always said to myself, one day the right situation might start. So it's funny, it did, and I missed out on quite a bit. And my favorite thing is just sitting down, having dinner with the wife and the kids.
That's awesome.
LeBron can see whatever he wants. The Hart family started Taco Tuesday.
Yeah.
He can say whatever he wants. We started it about 7 or 8 years ago. And, just those are some good times. And my guys are getting older. They're going to be out of the house soon.
Yeah.
And family time, I get it now. It took me long enough to understand it. And, like Coach Cyrus, he left coaching to spend more time with his family. You talk about like best in the business. Yeah. I always admired that. You know what I mean? Like and granted, when I got married, the kids were older, and I could spend more time, and with the basketball. And I have a very supportive, absolutely incredible wife. You talk about overachieving, like you're talking way overachieving right there. Right, there's me.
Yeah.
Mother-in-law. But way overachieving there. Right. Yeah. Look at me. Look at her. Way overachieving. And she just lets me coach basketball and be kids. She's like a second mother for these guys. I got a guy from Ireland. I had a kid from Guam. That's a long way.
Yeah.
My wife's right there. And I like it because she doesn't baby them, but she's good to them. And that's what the kids need. They need that. And so, yeah, obviously the family time is my favorite thing to do. And when I get home tonight, my youngest Liam, he has one of his buddies staying over the house, and they're probably playing the video games that all these kids are playing. And, I'll walk in, the kid plays varsity for us too with Liam. Yeah. And I'll say, gee, there's a college basketball game on. You guys should be watching. You should be. And Rich brings me with the last thing I want to say. It's so special. It's amazing. When we have, last week we had 8 St. Andrews Saints, because I have ESPN Plus, 8 guys playing.
Wow.
And then we had 8 boys, and then we had 2 girls playing. Actually 3, I'm sorry, we had 3. So we had 11 former St. Andrews Saints on one night playing on TV. And that was really special for me. It started at noon, and it ended at midnight.
Wow.
That was really special. It was really special. And once, I'm lucky I've had this trainer for God knows how long. Her name is Val Weber. And she lives right next door to me, her and her husband. She's got 2 little guys. And the faculty, a bunch of us live on campus. And we all went to her house, and we cooked, and we hung out, and we just enjoyed watching success. Some kids played 2 minutes. Other kids played the whole game. It was awesome. It was awesome.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
It was awesome. But that's off the court. It's the family, and that includes the St. Andrews family, that I enjoy the most.
I love it, Coach.
But I like to eat.
Yeah. Favorite meal? What's your favorite meal?
Pizza.
Pizza, yeah, mine too.
I can't. I cut down on the bread, but it's the pizza. Now, my mom's side is from Federal Hill. Yeah. The old Italian stereotype 3-10 house. Yeah. Gravy, loaf of bread dunking in. So I grew up eating 3 meals with bread at every meal.
That was.
And it comes back to haunt you. when you get older and you're less active, because bread puts a lot of weight on you. And then the other side, the Irish side, my father's side was from Smith Hill, and you get the the meat and potatoes
Yeah.
side.
Yeah.
So my mother, God bless her, unbelievable, unbelievable cook, and my dad made a mean steak. And so I grew up around a lot of food. And then I come to St. Andrews, I'm about 180 pounds, but I'm really 150. I'm 30 pounds heavier because of the weight room.
Yeah.
I was into weightlifting then. You get out of college, that's all you do is lift.
Yeah. Yeah. Something.
And, I played in the men's league, whatever.
Yeah.
And I come to St. Andrews, I move on campus, and they say, hey, the cafeteria is free. Out of your package. Now, Monday nights is steamship round. They're carving it for you.
Yeah.
Like we have these gourmet chefs. The kids are from all over the world. We had kids from Serbia make a Serbian meal. Kids from China making real Chinese food. Now I start eating there. I start putting weight on. Then the Italian shows. I have a lot of trouble. But the old Dr. Oz 5-question food addiction test, I only answered 2 out of 5.
That's good.
So I'm not an addict. But one of them was like, "Did you ever lose a job because you were home eating?"
Yeah.
I'm not that bad. I went to work that day. No, I'm just saying, like, I'm close. I got to make better choices. My wife has been awesome, but I've been up, down. I'm like Elvis. I'm fat Elvis, skinny Elvis. Up, down, up, down, up, down. I lost all this weight this year, because of COVID, and then I gained it because of COVID, like I said earlier.
Yeah.
So, but the pizza, it's, and I don't know if you knew this, but Domino's changed their recipe about 7 or 8 years ago, and it's actually pretty good.
Yeah, it is actually. Yeah, I do like.
And we have a deal. The athletic department has a deal. Don't tell anybody. $6 large. But anyway, thank you very much. I can't. And what you're doing is amazing because you're getting, the state of Rhode Island the notoriety it deserves. And,
Thank you.
And I want to publicly thank all the Rhode Island Scholastic coaches for, just answering the emails or my text messages or calls, just to give us a shot to play. We're in a hole here, and just for those guys to offer, just I really appreciate that because they don't have to do that, and I know their season's condensed, and just to think of us that way, I really really appreciate it. And we got a ton of talent here, a lot of talent in the coaching business.
It's great. It's awesome. I love it. I love how close knit a Rhode Island community is of all the coaches and how great everyone keeps in contact with each other. And it's just absolutely amazing. Coach, this interview was outstanding. I had so much fun talking to you. I learned so much. I was in awe half the conversation, but this has been great. I can't thank you enough for being on the show. It means so much to me, and I definitely have to make it to a couple games when we're allowed back to the games and stuff like that. I would be there. I gotta get my St. Andrews gear now. I'm gonna start swearing when I say.
I'll get you something. Hey, best ticket in town. It's free, although we're not allowing. Hold on, I don't want to get in trouble. We're not allowing spectators right now during COVID.
Yes.
But after COVID in the future, you guys can walk in. Only the Christmas tournament we charge because I have a large overhead.
Okay.
But we don't make any money on it, just to pay the bills, But yeah, I did notice that says Wheeler. Is that Wheeler?
Yeah, this is Wheeler. This is in North Stonington, Wheeler, Connecticut. So that's where I coached basketball. I coached with my old high school coach Neil Cobley. So I coached over in North Stonington. So it's a small school. It's like two, I don't know, graduating classes like 25. So
I'm sorry, where is it?
It's in North Stonington. So when you go to Foxwoods?
Yeah.
There's like a school there, like you kind of see it. That's a school. That's where I used to coach over there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's right before Foxwoods off of.
You played for Coach Kelly. I was going to say, God bless you.
Oh no! I played for.
He was good, by the way. Sean Kelly was a very good basketball player.
Was he? Yeah, I see. Dan Sylvester was my coach at Wesley.
Oh, that's right. Oh, another legend.
Yeah, he was a great guy. And then his assistant coach Neil Cobley was assistant for a long time.
With him at West Warwick too.
I didn't have him at West Warwick. I had him just at Weston.
But those guys coached together at West Warwick too for years. They had unbelievable teams. That's the other thing too. Henry Coleman is doing that, YouTube channel, putting all those old games up. It brings back so many memories. It's nice.
Henry's a good friend too now, actually. Yeah, after interviewing him, he's been very helpful, help getting this thing going a little bit more too. He's got me in contact with a lot of the coaches and stuff like that. So he was really, really, really good. So that's been awesome. Coach, you're like this interview was just out of this world.
Thanks for listening. Yeah.
Oh my God. I loved it. I loved I honest to God, I'm not going to cut a second of it because I loved every minute of it. Like I can guarantee people will love to listen to like your story. Also, if you have some kids that you want to bring on, I'm happy to have them on just to do a
Okay.
couple interviews with them or, love to get you on one of the round tables too of all the coaches that I do. So I don't know if you've seen those before, but
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They're good. Like I said, I'm a sponge. I love to learn.
yeah, yeah.
Love to learn.
It'd be great to have you, Coach Saris, and some of the other coaches around on all together. So it'd be a lot of fun.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
appreciate it.
We'll set that up. But Coach, thank you so much. Good luck with everything with setting up games. If there's anything I can do on my end, I don't know what I can do, but to help out in some sort of way, let me know. I'm here for you.
Sounds good. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I appreciate you and everything.
Awesome.
All right, Coach. I'll let you know when this comes out. I'll send it over to you. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a
Thanks,
good
Coach.
one. Okay, man.
All right. Bye.